Today we are bringing all of the MMA news straight to you with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to everything that you missed, like I just said, in MMA this week, guys. So we cover all of the news, and while it has been a little bit dry since UFC 300, there's still some really solid stuff that we're going to take a look at today. One more thing before we get started, guys. I apologize for the placement of my headset. I'm watching my newborn over here, and she's groaning a lot in her sleep, so I'm just making sure everything's okay. So I know it looks a little bit weird, but that's what you're going to have to deal with today. With that being said, like I said, timestamps are there, guys. Let's get into the video for today. I want to start off with something absolutely hilarious that I found on MMA Orbit, and I actually didn't know about this. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Alex Pereira is selling Chama t-shirts with his UFC 300 celebration on them. That's actually hilarious. I love that, dude. You already know that this is going to sell like crazy, and I love the little edit that they put Alex Pereira like reaching over the shirt. That's awesome, man. That is, talk about capitalizing on something fantastic. That's genius by Alex Pereira. Whoever thought of this is perfect, especially if you want to like rub it into with the way Jamal Hill had the Stonehead statue on. Love it. Genius move by Alex Pereira or whoever thought about this. Next up, guys, you got to check this one out, okay? If you haven't seen this, and I'm sure you have if you're in the loop with MMA, right? Anthony Smith has been going viral because of the way he was describing Alex Pereira. I'll let you listen to this clip. We'll react to it. It's just so funny. He was at the ESPN desk, and of course, my face cam's covering him. I don't know if it's still going to cover him. I'll just move down a little bit. Sorry, guys. I need to figure out a scene where I could just have this ready to go for you. Sorry about that. Let's watch the video.
With his skill set, he's essentially a kickboxer that came into MMA. Well, he needs to be a little bit more unpredictable. I think one of his strengths is that he is so good at a couple things. He's very basic. I'm not saying that he's...
You know, with Anthony Smith, too, that there is a little bit of sass to it. There's a little bit of, like, a backhanded compliment. You know the guy after watching him for so long, right?
That it's simple, or what he does is easy, but it's very basic. You can break it down. It's straight punches, it's left hooks, and it's nasty leg kicks. He's going to have to move his head off the center line a little bit more than he typically does because, in my opinion, I think Jamal Hill matches him in the power. With his skills...
So that didn't age well at all. That didn't age well at all, and everybody has been dogging on Anthony Smith. You know what? I'm going to actually go over to the Twitter post with Casual MMA over here that I saw this from, and we're going to see if anybody has been getting some really good replies out of that. Excuse me, guys. I'm still getting used to my new buttons over here. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm a mess. All right, let's see. Does anyone like this dork? That's the biggest thing. So, okay, yeah, this is the one that I saw. From the way this guy speaks, you would think his record is 29-0 and not 37-19. You know what the problem is, though, is what he was saying wasn't entirely wrong. Like, yeah, his style is pretty basic, but you know Anthony Smith is coming off. The problem comes from Anthony Smith being wrong, acting like he's a better fighter than everybody else. Like, I'd beat John Jones on paper. Like, are you serious right now? John Jones isn't that good. Alex Pereira needs to move his head. Yeah, you know what? Alex Pereira actually does need to move his head a little bit more, but does he need to because he keeps winning? The only time we've seen him get flatlined is by Israel Adesanya, and that's kind of considered a fluke by most of the MMA community, right? So, other than that, you see everybody just absolutely dogging on Anthony Smith over here. Bro would literally die. Yeah, could you imagine? Jamal Hill matches him in power. Yeah, that was a little bit of a, in my opinion, a little bit of a dumb take. And this is, okay, this is a little bit of an interesting post because you don't see this a lot. I don't know what you're talking about. He's spot on. Jamal is probably close in terms of power. Alex is just way better technically. Alex's game is not really a mystery, though, as Anthony says. Everyone knows what he's going to do, and he still does it over and over again. So I disagree about the power part. And I think we saw that, although, I don't know, man. I would imagine that Pereira is miles ahead in the power, but I don't think he's entirely wrong. But you know when Anthony Smith is talking about it, it's coming from a place of, I'm better than you. And I don't know where this dude got his ego, but it's crazy to me. Next up, we got news on Tom Aspinall. He is officially, well, he's in the early stages of signing his next fight. He's going to fight in the UK. I believe they said Manchester, and it's probably going to be against Curtis Blades or Cyril Gane because he is defending his interim belt. John Jones versus Stipe Miocic is still not happening. It's good to see that Tom Aspinall is being active. I highly doubt it's Cyril Gane after all the drama that's been going on with Cyril Gane, but you never know, man. I would imagine it's Curtis Blades. I cannot wait to see that rematch. I'm a giant Curtis Blades fan, so I hope that he gets the job done, but that's a very, very interesting matchup. Now, guys, we have a little bit of an interesting update for One Championship. The Dana White of One Championship, as people like to call him, Chachery, he said something very interesting that I think is very exciting for One Championship, because if you guys don't know, it's my favorite organization. He had to say, excuse me, This year is One Championship's international expansion, and from their card, they had their debut in the US, I believe it was last year, and the card was a banger. The fans were awesome, so I'm very interested to see where all of these next cards take place. I don't know how many they actually have planned right now. I would have to take a look into that, but One Championship is starting to break out in the West, and it is extremely exciting because, again, they're my favorite organization. I love them. They never have boring cards. Ever, in my opinion. If you're an MMA fan, I highly suggest checking out one of their cards. Now, guys, I want to get into all of the fight announcements. I have them listed here for you. We have some actual, a couple secret bangers over here. I'm going to read them off to you, okay? Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Mateus Rebecki on May 11th. Umar Sy versus Rodolfo Bellato on May 18th. Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriol on June 29th. Jekka Seri versus Weston Wilson on June 15th. Randy Brown versus Elizu Zaleski dos Santos on June 1st. Daniel Marcos versus John Castaneda on June 8th. Jeremiah Wells has pulled out. Nico Price will now be fighting Alex Morono. Those are, like, none of them really scream banger to me, but those are very, very interesting matchups, particularly Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriol. Randy Brown versus Dos Santos is a very good one, too, and I'm a big fan of Alex Morono. Love watching the dude, so I'm excited no matter who he fights, and he's taking on Nico Price, so it's a winnable fight for Alex Morono. I hope that he gets a job done. Rodolfo Bellato's fun, too. Mateus Rebecki, I'm reading all the fights off again. There are some really good fights announcements, guys. I'm excited. It looks like after UFC 299 and 300 now, we are going to get back after a couple weeks of cards being themselves again. Speaking of banger fight announcements, guys, check out this video on screen right now. I'll see you either there or in the next one. Take care.